My comments don't matter. You're going to go there and do what you do. What I feel doesn't matter. How do you get people re-engaged in the political process? I'm in a position where we are engaged. I'm amazed at how many people will tell me when I invite them, it doesn't matter. My position doesn't matter. And I'm going, what do you mean your position doesn't matter?
Yeah. Well, I feel compelled later to tell you about the cell phone because you'll find that interesting, perhaps. But you know, that's a very complex question, and I think there are many contributory factors to it. Reading the ugliness on front pages definitely contributes to it. You know, it doesn't elevate politics to a strata where parents tell young children, when you grow up, I want you to be a politician. But it's not a career of choice. I imagine most parents would talk their kids out of becoming a politician. The fact that when you have political parties that stop engaging your average population, and when the population engages, those ideas are not brought forward to caucus, cabinet, and premier's office, that's discouraging. You know, as an educator, I can tell you we don't do a good job educating our kids in a formal educational system about politics and current affairs in Canada. We're not very politically engaged as a nation. You know, I come from a place where politics would mean life or death, or what your life is going to look like, your quality of life tomorrow. You read 3 newspapers every day just to figure out what goes on in the world. We were fortunate enough we didn't have to have those adversities. You know, frankly, in Canada, does it really matter what political party forms the government tomorrow? Our life more or less will be the same, right? So that is very disengaging. And you know, we are victims of our own success. There's no doubt about it. But we need to attract politicians who inspire young people, who throw out innovative ideas on the table and are willing to debate them. And I find, you know, when I say young people, I mean 30 and younger, they no longer want to be members of political parties. You know, the old days of, you know, my father was a conservative and I'm a conservative are over. They are inspired by ideas. They will follow 3 political parties at the same time and find in each party something that they support. So our very traditional Westminster party-based system will have to look upon itself and start reflecting: Are we meeting the needs of our younger population, where information is readily available? They don't need to be in a party to have an advantage to know more than the neighbor because they're politically engaged. You have everything on your BlackBerry or your iPhone. So there isn't one answer, but getting stories like we have been reading in Alberta for the last number of months off the front pages would be a good first step, I imagine.
Good point.
Okay, and final question, Jim.
Okay. Take a critical point. I'm really looking for a path forward. Going back to the Getty years, we had the things like MagCan and trying to develop industries, and half a good majority of them failed. They pushed the paper industry up into the point where the paper went from $1,000 to $400, and it's sort of recovered, but not much. We've got this oil industry. We pushed up to the point of the brink of a pipeline disaster. We haven't got any more pipeline capacity. And the Northwest Upgrader seems to be funded by the Alberta government, but they're sending the engineering off to Spain and Italy on our dollar. What's your path forward on this? I don't see that you have people behind this. The solutions coming up from the government sources are not really coming up with good solutions. But before you reiterate on your cornflakes, Toronto lost manufacturing jobs to Japan, and China is losing textile to Bangladesh. We can't, you know, manufacturing to me is not the solution.
Well, it isn't. You know, food processing is not manufacturing. If you ever have a chance and you're driving in southern Alberta, and that's why I mentioned potato producers, they attracted 2 companies, McCain's and Old Dutch. McCain's is producing in southern Alberta all the French fries and hash browns for all of McDonald's Canada, and good stuff. And Old Dutch is obviously producing potato chips. If you walk into that plant. It's a massive plant. There's truckloads of potatoes being dumped in and truckloads of potato chips coming out on the other end. If there are 10 people working on a shift, that would be maximum. And they're all in white lab coats because they're either engineers overlooking the mechanical process or they're scientists doing the quality work and addressing health and safety issues within the plant, relevant from food examination perspective. Very highly skilled, very educated individuals, and frankly, no labor on the floor whatsoever. You know, that's what we need to look at. Automation is something that we need to focus on as well in this, not only this province, but this country. Our productivity rates lag behind most developed countries because of the fact that we don't invest in automation. But are we going to succeed on every project? No. We'll fail on a couple. There's no doubt about it. But do we have the intelligence, both in government and in private sector, of where we reasonably believe that we can be a player internationally? Yeah, we do. You know, and there are examples of it. With pipelines, I was actually had a chance when I was Minister of Enterprise and Advanced Education, had a chance to forge some relationships. We have a capacity to become the world center of excellence for construction, maintenance, and monitoring of pipelines. We should be the place to which the whole world looks to for the most advanced technologies in that one industry. We aren't right now. Yet, a lot of this work is already happening in Alberta, but it isn't synthesized. No, we don't have a research institute, a center of excellence on construction, maintenance, and monitoring of pipelines. So, again, because we won't be manufacturing province, but we will be intelligence-based province, we need to develop centers of excellence for research and innovation, much like Boston has developed, Tel Aviv in Israel has developed, or Germany with the Fraunhofer, Helmholtz, Max Planck, where you have interplay between publicly funded research, universities and polytechnics, and private research developing new technologies. And some of it is happening. You know, we in France, there is a company, Sercel, I believe it is, Sercel, that in France they develop sensors for seismic, the most minute of vibrations, and they've developed it for their coal mining industry to detect any trouble that may be happening underground. Well, we picked up that technology and we transformed that technology through research, and now we're attaching those sensors to pipelines. And the reason we're attaching to pipelines is because those sensors are so sensitive that if there is any minor crack, metallurgical disruption in the pipeline, the fluid running through the pipeline will create a certain vibration, and that sensor will pick up on it, and we will know more or less where it is. That kind of research can be happening in our province and manufacturing of that, which isn't really labor intensive. But it's trial and error. But we do have some natural advantages. You know, food is not going out of style. And food will be more and more scarce in this world over decades. It just happens to grow over here. And we have some of the best agricultural land, and we have sparsity of population, vastness of agricultural land. It seems natural that we invest into what we already do so well in the last 100 years, but now add some value to it.
All right, folks, we've had some fabulous questions and some great answers. I'm just going to ask one last final question because this could have been a debate. You commented a little bit earlier, Thomas, that there really hasn't been a debate throughout this whole election. What do you mean by that?
Well, as far as I can reach back in memory and from now purposely reading, every single leadership race of a political party where the newly chosen leader assumes the head of government, we would have always afforded Albertans an opportunity to see all 3, 4, 7 candidates on stage and allow them to debate each other in an open forum where questions would be thrown at them by the media, by Albertans, and give Albertans the opportunity to ask those important questions. How would you act on this? Not scripted, but on the spot. Because when you're a premier, that's what you do. you know, you can't afford to go everywhere and say, good question, I'm going to take that under consideration. I'll get briefed on it. Life doesn't work that way when you're elected. The fact is you have to know your files, and Albertans should interview us, are we ready for that job? Well, this will be the first race when we haven't had that opportunity. The PC Party of Alberta has created 7 forums where the 3 of us, yes, we were on the same stage, but we were provided with pre-written questions, which we, if we chose to, got researched and prepared answers. And we were allowed between 3 to 7 minutes to present our platform and then answer those questions with 0 interaction, rebuttal, challenge between candidates. There was only one forum that was put on by the Canadian-Ukrainian Congress, but media wasn't allowed in. There was only one little camera that was streaming it on the internet, and you can watch it. You can watch it on the internet. We had offers from CBC. Actually, CBC was very good in this case, and Global, both in Edmonton and Calgary, to stage that. One was supposed to happen. What's your shopping center called here? Chinook. At Chinook's shopping center, where they wanted to make it very public, where reporters from all media outlets would be asking us questions, but there would be public participation as well of just bypassers. And one at Sept Mall in Edmonton, but no media outlet was willing to do it with 2 out of 3 candidates. When you knew that there will be only 2 out of 3 candidates. That's good.
All right, very good. Well, we are delighted that you chose to join us here today, and to acknowledge you properly, I call upon Brian Duclos, President of the Canadian Club, to thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas. Elaine said at the beginning when she introduced you that this is going to be a tough race. I got to be honest with you, when I came in the room, I knew of you as the guy that's the Edmonton choice. I'm from Calgary, eh? You're the guy that's going to go for the immigrant vote, and a bunch of other characterizations. What I've gotten out of today is I've come to know you, and I felt like I got 100% from you. I've got ideas from you. I've got down the road thinking from you, and a sense of who you are. Going back to Elaine's remark, it's going to be a tough race. The more people get to see you and get to know you, the more you're in the race. We really feel honored that you came here today and to get to know you. Thank you very much. Our host here, Brian Lee, is also an author. He's kind of given me some things that I've been asked to give to you, which may come in handy, if not in the next week, certainly in the future. So we have here the 1-minute name memory. Just